Chapters 7 to 11, Book 16, Volume 2 of Le Morte d'Arthur. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Lars Rolander. Le Morte d'Arthur, Volume 2, by Sir Thomas Malory. Chapter 7. And when he was unarmed, they led him into a high tower, where was a lady, young, lusty, and fair. And she received him with great joy, and made him to sit down by her. And so was he set to sup with flesh and many dainties. And when Sir Bors saw that, he bethought him of his penance, and bade a squire to bring him water. And so he brought him, and he made soups therein, and ate them. Ah, said the lady, I trow ye like not my meat. Yes, truly, said Sir Bors, God thank you, madam, but I may eat none other meat this day. Then she spake no more as at that time, for she was loath to displease him. Then after supper they spake of one thing and other. With that came a squire and said, Madam, ye must purvey you to morn for a champion, for else your sister will have this castle, and also your lands, except ye can find a knight that will fight to morn in your quarrel against Pridam le Noire. Then she made sorrow, and said, Ah, Lord God, wherefore granted ye to hold my land, whereof I should now be disherited without reason and right? And when Sir Bors had heard her say thus, he said, I shall comfort you. Sir, said she, I shall tell you, there was here a king that hight Aniaus, which held all this land in his keeping. So it mishapped he loved a gentlewoman a great deal elder than I. So took he her and all this land to her keeping, and all his men to govern. And she brought up many evil customs, whereby she put to death a great part of his kinsmen. And when he saw that, he let chase her out of this land, and betook it me, and all this land in my demesnes. But anon as that worthy king was dead, this other lady began to war upon me, and hath destroyed many of my men, and turned them against me, that I have well nigh no man left me, and I have naught else but this high tower that she left me. And yet she hath promised me to have this tower without I can find a knight to fight with her champion. Now tell me, said Sir Bors, what is that Pridam le Noire? Sir, said she, he is the most doubted man of this land. Now may ye send her word that ye have found a knight that shall fight with that Pridam le Noire in God's quarrel and yours. Then that lady was not a little glad, and sent word that she was purveyed, and that night Bors had good cheer, but in no bed he would come, but laid him on the floor, nor never would do otherwise till that he had met with the quest of the Sangreal. Chapter 8. And anon as he was asleep him befell a vision, that there came to him two birds, the one as white as a swan, and the other was marvellous black, but it was not so great as the other, but in the likeness of a raven. Then the white bird came to him and said, An thou wouldst give me meat and serve me, I should give thee all the riches of the world, and I shall make thee as fair as white as I am. So the white bird departed, and there came the black bird to him, and said, An thou wilt serve me to morrow, and have me in no despite though I be black, for wit thou well that more availeth my blackness than the other's whiteness. And then he departed. And he had another vision, him thought that he came to a great place which seemed a chapel, and there he found a chair set on the left side, which was worm eaten and feeble. And on the right hand were two flowers like a lily, and the one would have beknown the other's whiteness, but a good man departed them that the one touched not the other. And then out of every flower came out many flowers, and fruit great plenty. Then him thought the good man said, should not he do great folly that would let these two flowers perish for to succour the rotten tree, that it fell not to the earth? Sir, said he, it seemeth me that this wood might not avail. Now keep thee, said the good man, that thou never see such adventure befall thee. Then he awaked, and made a sign of the cross in midst of the forehead, and so rose and clothed him. And there came the lady of the place, and she saluted him, and he her again, and so went to a chapel and heard their service. And there came a company of knights that the lady had sent for, to lead Sir Bors unto battle. Then asked he his arms, and when he was armed she prayed him to take a little morsel to dine. Nay, madam, said he, that shall I not do till I have done my battle by the grace of God. And so he leapt upon his horse, and departed all the knights and men with him. And as soon as these two ladies met together, she which Bors should fight for complained her, and said, Madam, ye have done me wrong to bereave me of my lands that King Aniause gave me, and full loath I am there should be any battle. Ye shall not choose, said the other lady, or else your knight withdraw him. Then there was the cry made, which party had the better of the two knights, that his lady should rejoice all the land. Now departed the one knight here and the other there. Then they came together with such a raundon that they pierced their shields and their hauberks, and the spears flew in pieces, and they wounded either other sore. Then hurtled they together, so that they fell both to the earth, and their horses betwixt their legs. And anon they arose and set hands to their swords, and smote each other one other upon the heads, that they made great wounds and deep, that the blood went out of their bodies. For there found Sir Bors greater defence in that night more than he weened, for that Pridam was a passing good knight, and he wounded Sir Bors full evil, and he him again. But ever this Pridam held the stour in like hard. That perceived Sir Bors, and suffered him till he was nigh attaint, and then he ran upon him more and more, and the other went back for dread of death. So in his withdrawing he fell upright, and Sir Bors drew his helm so strongly that he rent it from his head, and gave him great strokes with the flat of his sword upon the visage, and bade him yield him, or he should slay him. Then he cried him mercy, and said, Fair knight, for God's love slay me not, and I shall ensure thee never to war against thy lady, but be always toward her. Then Bors let him be. Then the old lady fled with all her knights. Chapter 9. So then came Bors to all those that held lands of his lady, and said he should destroy them, but if they did such service unto her as longed to their lands. So they did their homage, and they that would not were chased out of their lands. Then befell that young lady to come to her estate again, by the mighty prowess of Sir Bors de Ganis. So when all country was well set in peace, then Sir Bors took his leave and departed, and she thanked him greatly, and would have given him great riches, but he refused it. Then he rode all that day till night, and came to an harbour to a lady which knew him well enough, and made him great joy. Upon the morn, as soon as the day appeared, Bors departed from thence, and so rode into a forest unto the hour of midday, and there befell him a marvellous adventure. So he met at the departing of the two ways two knights that led Lionel his brother, all naked, bounden upon a strong hackney, and his hands bounden to fore his breast. And everych of them held in his hands thorns, wherewith they went beating him so sore that the blood trailed down more than in 100 places of his body, so that he was all blood to fore and behind, but he said never a word. As he which was great of heart, he suffered all that ever they did to him, as though he had felt none anguish. Anon Sir Bors dressed him to rescue him that was his brother, and so he looked upon the other side of him, and saw a knight which brought a fair gentlewoman, and would have set her in the thickest place of the forest, for to have been the more sure out of the way from them that sought him. And she which was nothing assured cried with a high voice, Saint Mary, succour your maid. And anon she espied where Sir Bors came riding. And when she came nigh him she deemed him a knight of the Round Table, whereof she hoped to have some comfort. And then she conjured him, By the faith that he ought unto him in whose service thou art entered in, and for the faith ye owe unto the high order of knighthood, and for the noble King Arthur's sake, that I suppose made thee knight, that thou help me and suffer me not to be shamed of this knight. When Bors heard her say thus, he had so much sorrow there he nist not what to do. For if I let my brother be in adventure he must be slain, and that would I not for all the earth. And if I help not the maid she is shamed for ever, and also she shall lose her virginity, the which she shall never get again. Then lift he up his eyes and said weeping, Fair sweet Lord Jesu Christ, whose liege man I am, keep Lionel my brother, that these knights slay him not, and for pity of you and for Mary's sake I shall succour this maid. Chapter 10. Then dressed he him unto the knight the which had the gentlewoman, and then he cried, Sir knight, let your hand off that maiden, or ye be but dead. And then he set down the maiden and was armed at all pieces save he lacked his spear. Then he dressed his shield and drew out his sword, and Bors smote him so hard that it went through his shield and habergeon on the left shoulder. And through great strength he beat him down to the earth, and at the pulling out of Bors' spear there he swooned. Then came Bors to the maid and said, How seemeth it you of this night ye be delivered at this time? Now, sir, said she, I pray you lead me thereas this knight had me. So shall I do gladly, and took the horse of the wounded knight, and set the gentlewoman upon him, and so brought her as she desired. Sir knight, said she, ye have better sped than ye weened, for an I had lost my maidenhood 500 men should have died for it. What knight was he that had you in the forest? By my faith, said she, he is my cousin. So wot I never with what engine the fiend enchaffed him, for yesterday he took me from my father privily, for I nor none of my father's men mistrusted him not. And if he had had my maidenhood he should have died for the sin, and his body shamed and dishonoured for ever. Thus as she stood talking with him there came 12 knights seeking after her. And anon she told them all how Bors had delivered her. Then they made great joy, and besought him to come to her father, a great lord, and he should be right welcome. Truly, said Bors, that may not be at this time, for I have a great adventure to do in this country. So he commended them unto God and departed. Then Sir Bors rode after Lionel his brother by the trace of their horses. Thus he rode seeking a great while. Then he overtook a man clothed in a religious clothing, and rode on a strong black horse, blacker than a berry, and said: Sir knight, what seek you? Sir, said he, I seek my brother that I saw within a while beaten with two knights. Ah Bors, discomfort you not, nor fall into no vain hope, for I shall tell you tidings such as they be, for truly he is dead. Then he showed him a new slain body lying in a bush, and it seemed him well that it was the body of Lionel. And then he made such sorrow that he fell to the earth all in a swoon, and lay a great while there. And when he came to himself he said: Fair brother, sith the company of you and me is departed, shall I never have joy in my heart. And now he which I have taken unto my master, he be my help. And when he had said thus, he took his body lightly in his arms, and put it upon the arson of his saddle. And then he said to the man: Canst thou tell me unto some chapel, where that I may bury this body? Come on, said he, here is one fast by. And so long they rode till they saw a fair tower, and afore it there seemed an old feeble chapel. And then they alighted both, and put him into a tomb of marble. Chapter 11. Now leave we him here, said the good man, and go we to our harbour till to morrow. We will come here again to do him service. Sir, said Bors, be ye a priest? Yea, forsooth, said he. Then I pray you tell me a dream that befell to me the last night. Say on, said he. Then he began so much to tell him of the great bird in the forest, and after told him of his birds, one white, another black, and of the rotten tree, and of the white flowers. Sir, I shall tell you a part now, and the other deal to morrow. The white fowl betokeneth a gentlewoman, fair and rich, which loved thee paramours, and hath loved thee long. And if thou warn her love, she shall go die anon, if thou have no pity on her. That signifieth the great bird, the which shall make thee to warn her. Now for no fear that thou hast, ne for no dread that thou hast of God, thou shalt not warn her, but thou wouldst not do it for to be holden chaste, for to conquer the loose of the vain glory of the world. For that shall befall thee now an thou warn her, that Launcelot the good knight thy cousin shall die. And therefore men shall now say that thou art a manslayer, both of thy brother Sir Lionel, and of thy cousin Sir Launcelot du Lake, the which thou mightest have saved and rescued easily. But thou weenedst to rescue a maid which pertaineth nothing to thee. Now look thou whether it had been greater harm of thy brother's death, or else to have suffered her to have lost her maidenhood. Then asked he him: Hast thou heard the tokens of thy dream, the which I have told to you? Yea, forsooth, said Sir Bors, all your exposition and declaring of my dream I have well understood and heard. Then said the man in this black clothing: Then it is in thy default if Sir Launcelot thy cousin die. Sir, said Bors, that were me loath, for wit ye well there is nothing in the world but I had liefer do it than to see my lord Sir Launcelot du Lake to die in my default. Choose ye now the one or the other, said the good man. And then he led Sir Bors into a high tower, and there he found knights and ladies. Those ladies said he was welcome, and so they unarmed him. And when he was in his doublet, men brought him a mantle furred with ermine, and put it about him. And then they made him such cheer that he had forgotten all his sorrow and anguish. and only set his heart in these delights and dainties, and took no thought more for his brother Sir Lionel, neither of Sir Launcelot du Lake his cousin. And anon came out of a chamber to him the fairest lady than ever he saw, and more richer beseen than ever he saw Queen Guenever or any other estate. Lo, said they, Sir Bors, here is the lady unto whom we owe all our service, and I trow she be the richest lady and the fairest of all the world, and the which loveth you best above all other knights, for she will have no knight but you. And when he understood that language he was abashed, not for then she saluted him, and he her, and then they sat down together and spake of many things, insomuch that she besought him to be her love, for she had loved him above all earthly men, and she should make him richer than ever was man of his age. When Bors understood her words he was right evil at ease, which in no manner would not break chastity, so wist not he how to answer her. End of Book 16, chapters 7 to 11. Read by Lars Rolander.